Animals concentrated around this fragile vein of life. Rainwater pans dried, and quite mysteriously, the Savuti Channel itself shrank, drained away, and died. For thousands of animals trapped in this arid wilderness, the search for water became a search for life. Those that tried to wait out the drought perished. Their defeat was a signal to others of their kind. Waves of animals set off on a desperate search, unaware of their lethal capacity to inflict massive change on their final destination. Those that chose to leave would have many choices ahead, but only one direction would save them. All their choices would be judged by the opportunists. But Africa is an ancient place. Its inhabitants have ancient memories. Some of the travelers had generations of accumulated knowledge. Some had never been this way before. All had only one chance: to make the journey to the forgotten river. In the early 1980s, dust devils become familiar apparitions across Botswana's stricken landscape. Moisture is disappearing. Stressed and foaming from the eyes, the last female hippopotamus forces her way from the clutches of the thickening mud. She is heavily pregnant. She has waited until the very last, perhaps in some hope of respite. But there is none. Her time has come. She too has to make the journey to a place she has never seen, to find a place in the wilderness that could promise water and life. This chronicle describes 7 years of change in the southern African country of Botswana. In the northwest of this largely unspoiled wilderness, animals have long relied on the Linyanti River and the Savuti Channel. In 1982, drought and seismic shifts in the earth dried out rainwater pans and drained the Savuti, leaving the animals to retreat to Linyanti. The routes to this forgotten place are etched in sand, ancient elephant paths that seem to stretch for endless miles across Botswana. Thousands of buffalo, zebras, and elephants trudge through the thick dust toward the Linyanti, 70 miles to the north. Temperatures soar, sapping their energy, dehydrating their bodies, slowing their pace. Young nomadic lions on the threshold of adulthood have left their prides and are following in the dust of the herds. Inexperienced, but always alert to opportunity, always ready to investigate a weakness, the young lions have stumbled across a pair of stranded hippos. Usually, hippos would flee to water, but now there are no pools, no streams, no escape. The nomadic lions are unwilling to test the teeth of the hippos. Some bull elephants halt their journey at old depressions along the way. With sensitive trunks and feet, they work away at the earth. At last, they dig deep enough to allow a little underground water to filter into the holes. Not much, but enough to sustain them a little farther on their journey across the parched landscape. The journey is taking its toll. A weary foot slips in the churned-up sand. A shoulder joint is thrown out. They wait, clearly reluctant to leave her. In the blazing sun, she became dehydrated. Because the survival of the herd is more important than the life of an individual, the old cow is left to die, alone. As always, opportunists are waiting for any mistake. For the nomadic lions, following in the dust of the herds like shadows, the journey is also hard. They too desperately need moisture to survive. Moisture from water or blood. Alone, far behind the other refugees from Savuti, the hippo struggles on. Her journey made more difficult by the thick sand, her shorter strides, and the burden of pregnancy. But for her, there is a brief respite. 2/3 of her journey is over, and a rainwater pan hidden in the thickets will provide refuge for another month. At the edge of this temporary haven, the mother has given birth. Normally, newborn hippo calves can walk within minutes of birth, but faced with the threats of unfamiliar surroundings, the mother can't wait minutes. Desperate to get her calf to safety, she urges him to stumble forward into the water. The tranquility of the pan is soon shattered. The herds from Savuti have moved on. Now elephants from more distant areas of drought are following the trails to the north. After the long, dusty miles, the weary travelers quench their thirst. For many, the water summons a new burst of life. The great beasts rush into the pan to drink and splash and wallow. Wave after wave of fragmented groups of elephants drink and bathe in the pan, then continue on their way. Quickly, the water that is so precious to the newborn calf and his mother is churned into mud. The fragile clay base of the pan is broken and the water drains away. Their plight now is as desperate as it had been in Savuti just a few months before. Ahead of them, the way is littered with the evidence of failed hopes, grim reminders of their urgent need to continue. Once more, the mother hippo heads off into the scrubland, now only 20 miles from Linyanti. But now, she is followed by her infant calf still trailing his umbilical cord. The terrain ahead is harsh and desolate. For centuries, countless animals have journeyed this way in search of water. For those that can make the journey, there is a place. Through the scrub and forest, beyond the floodplains, there is a river called Linyanti. The river moves to its own rhythm, apparently secure and stable. It seems alive in its mystery and tranquility, its residents ignorant of the approaching change. The messengers of change have arrived. These giants of compassion and age celebrate their arrival as herd after herd spills out of the barren interior. With the herds, the nomadic lions filter in, their senses suddenly heightened by the flood of available prey. Paradise has been reached, and the future of the herds is firmly intertwined with the newfound water. By contrast, the hippo and her calf still have miles of struggle ahead of them, but miraculously they are alive and on track. In Linyanti, the resident lion prides have long dominated the riverfront. Each night, the masters keep vigil. That is their role. The territories of the different prides fill the forest and riverbanks, sometimes overlapping, never vacant. Hunting is normally left to the females, but under the full moon, hunting on the floodplains is seldom worth the effort. Robbed of their advantage by the bright moonlight, the predators sleep or play, transmitting a common scent among members of the pride. But the newly arrived buffalo herd spread out on the Linyanti floodplains make a tempting target. Even in the full moonlight, when the buffaloes can see the lions, the reward of a huge meal is worth the effort. So the lions circle, waiting and watching. A stumble, a call from a vulnerable buffalo could be the signal. This time, the male carries the attack. The victim, a buffalo cow exhausted from a journey she will never make again. With the arrival of the buffaloes, the first impact on Linyanti is realized. Drawn by the distress calls of the kill, the nomadic lions rush forward, but they are driven off. Their presence will not be tolerated here. In the violence of the night, they have to settle for a smaller meal. When dawn seeps into Linyanti, the residents find themselves engulfed in the turmoil of a place that is different. Drawn by the smell of the waters of Linyanti, the elephant herds continue to filter through the forest, following the same signs as generations before them. They hesitate silently in this mysterious forest before they venture toward the water. There is an air of uneasiness as Linyanti becomes the stage and the dramas begin to unfold. The female and calf are tired, but they are nearly there. She can smell the water ahead and hear the sounds of life. But Linyanti is an unfamiliar and daunting place, where beauty is matched by harshness. Warthogs thrive on these floodplains, but hunters and scavengers of all sizes wait for any mistake or sign of weakness. The mother warthog and her 4 piglets are surrounded. Though the mother's tusks are formidable weapons, the jackals are experts in outwitting their prey. Constantly changing the direction of their attacks, they confuse her, and the odds quickly turn against her. She can't keep control as her young scamper about in the chaos. With the desperation of a new mother, she tries to keep her litter intact, never willing to forfeit one piglet to save the others. She plays to the strategy of the jackals. As she saves one, she exposes another. The mother warthog finally leaves the field with her two remaining piglets, one badly injured but capable of surviving. The jackals are content with their catch. In Linyanti, as in all of Africa, good matches evil, and the two seem to melt into one, blending until separation becomes impossible. When the hippo and her calf arrive at the Linyanti River, they come upon this spectacle. From the forest, she can see the resident hippo herd resting at a pool. Their numbers already increased by the influx of other hippos also seeking refuge from the drought. They have arrived, but they are not welcome. Newcomers are not easily accepted, but the mother hippo is determined. She has traveled a long way for this. Nothing can stop her now. With her calf close behind her, she enters the water to confront the disturbed herd. One by one, the dominant individuals, both male and female, surge forward to attack and chase them away from the herd. For hours, the battles rage on. But at last, the fury begins to ebb. She has won a place in the herd. Her position in the hierarchy will be sorted out in time. Why acceptance is so important to the hippo is hard to define. The advantages of a herd are few, but she has earned a position in the water and secured the future for her calf. The forest has many shadows. When the rare Chobe bushbuck come out onto the floodplains to drink, they are vulnerable. Leopards lie in wait to ambush them. Baboons are their sentinels. the dense corners of the forest, the bushbuck are safe. The bushbuck, the forest, and the baboons, all working together. As baboons frolic and feed in the forest canopy, they inadvertently drop foliage to the ground. The bushbuck stay close by, feeding on the gifts from above. The triangle is complete. But in the forest, old balances are being altered. The sanctuary is being changed by the very animals that have come in search of survival. Linyanti itself is under siege. The number of elephant herds grows constantly during the first years of the drought. Thirsts are answered by the river. But when they retire to the shade, the elephants trigger a change that will transform Linyanti. They start to feed in the lush, pristine forest. In the winter of 1985, dark clouds appear on the horizon. Flocks of tiny birds fly into Linyanti. No more than 5 inches long, these red-billed quilias gather in flocks of hundreds, sometimes thousands, moving like columns of smoke, like one animal invading the silent landscape. They have come for the water, but like the elephants, they gather in the forest to feed. Grass seeds and insects are swept up by the flocks. Like feathered locusts, the quilias swarm into Linyanti each year, growing in number from thousands to hundreds of thousands. By 1988, flocks of more than 100 million soar over the reed beds, creating their own wind as they fly by. During the 6 years of the drought, the impact on the forest has become increasingly visible. As vegetation dies from insufficient seasonal rains, The elephants begin to push down trees to get to the more nutritious leaves at the top. The forest changes, and gradually over the years, the number of dead trees begins to outnumber the living ones. Year after year, more elephants arrive and work the forest, and the canopy opens up. Along the crowded banks of the river, even the quilliers have to take turns to get a drink. Often they are forced to hover near the surface. The opportunity is not missed. Time after time, the crocodiles attack, gulping great mouthfuls of the tiny birds. They fly off, only to land again at the same spot, the will of the individual lost in the dive and swirl of the flock. The influences on Linyanti come in many forms. No corner is sacred, no bush safe from invasion. For some of the oldest residents, time seems to have neither a beginning nor an end. For uncounted millions of years, the crocodiles of Linyanti have played out an ancient ritual. They come out onto the riverbanks and listen to the earth. Female crocodiles can hear the calls below the ground. They feel the heartbeats in their throats. Since earliest times in Linyanti, crocodile births have occurred on the riverbanks, in natural alcoves in the riverine bush. When the young hatch, they do so in a flood, one call stimulating another hatching, and they are snatched into safety. Scrub and low growth are now disappearing. The open ground has been pummeled by heavy footprints. The crocodiles are losing their cover along the riverbanks. They have to move their nesting sites away from the mainland, out to the papyrus islands in the marshland. Ever alert, jackals play opportunity like experts, never letting a weakness escape. The unhatched crocodile eggs are stolen and saved for a later meal. The crocodiles have to adjust, but they have been adjusting for millions of years. As the food supply diminishes, others follow. When the number of elephants nears 20,000, the pressure is so great that they too swim across to the Papyrus Islands in search of food. As the elephants feed, they drop broken reeds into the river. Debris floats downstream to the narrows in the river. It collects and stops. In time, roots from the reed banks secure the mat. Silt builds up, and the water slows, flooding into the islands in the marsh, the only refuge for the Sitatunga. Year after year, as blockages grow, water courses shift, and the river itself changes. But such events are normal. The elephants are simply the agents of change. While their feeding causes blockages downstream, in other places it opens up papyrus beds, flattens reed beds, and creates new lagoons. Their crossing, swimming and playing stir up the silt and stimulate flows again, but on new courses. As with their feeding in the forest, the elephants simply bring about change. In the broken forest, Cape hunting dogs breed. Each year, these wild dogs find refuge among the tumble-down trees to burrow their dens. Usually only one litter of pups is allowed at a time. Now, with easy hunting and safe dens, more than one female is allowed to breed. They have turned the elephant damage to their advantage. The hippos remain unmoved by the changes occurring around them. The determined female and her calf are now part of the herd. When she goes into the water to feed, she leaves the calf alone with the others. After growing up with them for several seasons, he is now secure in his acceptance. It is the only herd he has ever known. Curious, he explores the group of sleeping adults, while his mother feeds on the young reeds growing in the new lagoon. The feeding activity of nearly 3,000 hippos in the Linyanti waterways also alters the river. When she returns, the calf is no longer where she left him. like she goes on a wild search, ready to do battle, until she finds him. By the winter of 1988, Linyanti is tired. Trees are little more than sticks. The forest is ghostly in its devastation. Elephant numbers are at saturation point. Animals are using the last of the resources, picking Linyanti clean like vultures on a carcass. Yet animals that would have perished by the thousands have found salvation at this forgotten river. The predators of Linyanti have been enjoying an extended season of plenty. For 7 years, they have thrived on the abundance of food, gleaned life from death, and used hardship as an ally. The numbers of resident lions have grown. The territories along the river have been well worth defending. But once again, there are rumors of change. As always, the lions are the lords of chaos. In the electric night, the Sesame herds are confused. They split and regroup as each changing wind brings the smell of death. In this confusion, multiple kills are made. Excitement and competition are in the air. They eat and fight as if it were to be their last meal. The cycle has turned. The rains have come. For months, the downpours of 1988 and 89 bring more rain than has fallen in the previous 30 years. And when it is over, the herds are leaving. With the coming of rains, the grasses and flowers spring into life, but they are not enough to delay the herd's departure. For the resident predators like the lions, the exodus of the herds will bring lean times. But the wild dogs are prepared to move. They have no territories to defend, and so they follow. They select a young zebra at first, but the dominant stallions in the herd drop back and form a defensive line between the dogs and the vulnerable young. The defense is impenetrable, and the wild dogs and the zebra engage in a game. A ballet of movement, neither dogs nor zebra wanting to make contact. For a brief moment in time, Linyanti has offered a haven for the survival of the herds. Without this crowded sanctuary, they would have died. Like the wind, elephant herds scatter into the thousands of miles of wild country in Botswana that have been waiting for the rains to revive them. Only in this country in Africa can the wilderness sustain a free flow of these huge herds. At Linyanti, the small dramas that played out have been important in making up the fabric. Massive changes are simply rhythms of life. Like the other herds on this worn landscape, the hippos begin to scatter. But the female and her calf have moved once too often. They are settled, reluctant to leave. For us, it's not easy to understand that places like this can be held in store until the day they are needed. It is our way to use all we can, now. Already the forest is recovering. The elephants will be back, and they will tear down the forest again and again for generations to come. The river will keep changing. But perhaps for now, Linyanti can stay as the forgotten river, and the invasion will be like a dream.